Oh, hello, readers. I'm Belchan.
I'm Nimikung.
I'm Van Chan.
In this class, I'll read to all of you. Chap. 34 Sec. 3 of Jane Eyre, an Autobiography.
Ass.
Ah.
Jane Eyre, an Autobiography. Brontë. Chap. 34 Sec. 3. And then it is such a bitter night, the keenest wind you ever felt. You had better send word. So. But he was already in the passage, putting on his cloak, and without one objection, one murmur, he departed. It was then 9 o'clock. He did not return till midnight. Starved and tired enough he was, but he looked happier than when he set out. He had performed an act of duty, made an exertion, felt his own strength to do and deny, and was on better terms with himself. I am afraid the whole of the ensuing week tried his patience. It was Christmas week. We took to no settled employment, but spent it in a sort of merry domestic dissipation. The air of the moors, the freedom of home, the dawn of prosperity. I did Diana and Mary, for it's like some life-giving elixir. They were gay from morning till noon, and from noon till night. They could always talk, and their discourse, bitchy, paying, original, had such charms for me that I preferred listening to, and sharing in it, to doing anything else. Straight. John did not rebuke our vivacity, but he escaped from it. He was seldom in the house. His parish was large, the population scattered, and he found daily business in visiting the sick and poor in its different districts. One morning at breakfast, Diana, after looking a little pensive for some minutes, asked him. Unchanged and unchangeable was the reply for the ensuing year, and Rossam and Oliver suggested Mary, the words seeming to escape her lips involuntarily, for no sooner had she uttered them than she made a gesture as if wishing to recall them. Straight, closed it, and looked up. Rosamond Oliver, said he, is about to be married to Mr. Canby, one of the best connected and most estimable residents in this. Grandson and heir to Sir Frederick Granby and me, we all three looked at him. He was serene as glass. The match must have been bought up hastily, said Diana, but 2 months they met in October at the county ball at us. No obstacles to union, as in the present case is in every point desirable, delays are unnecessary. Sin is this place which Sir Frederick is up to. Then first time I found Street John alone after this communication, to inquire if the event distressed him. Sympathy, that is so. Far from venturing to offer him more, some shame at the recollection of what I had already hazarded, besides, was out of practice in talking to her. Him his reserve was again frozen over her, and my frankness was congealed beneath it. Of treating me like his sisters, he continually made little shilling differences between us, which did not at all tend to the development of cordiality. In short, now that I was acknowledged his kinswoman, with him he had known me only as the village schoolmistress I had once been admitted to his confidence frigidity, such being the case his head. Suddenly from the desk over which he was stooping, and said, "Thin." Jane, startled at being thus addressed, I did not immediately. While, after a moment's hesitation, I answered, "The position of those conquerors whose triumphs have cost them too dear. Not, and if I were, it does not much signify, never be called upon to contend for such another. Is decisive, my way is now clear," saying he returned to his papers in his silence. As our mutual happiness, i.e. Diana's, Mary's, and mine settled into quite a character, resumed our usual habits and regular studies, Street John stayed more at home. He sat with us in the same room, sometimes for hours together, while Mary drew, or an amazement to undertake, and I fagged away at German, missed a claw of his own, that of some Eastern tongue, which he thought necessary to his plans. Thus engaged, he appeared. His own recess, quiet and absorbed enough, had a habit of leaving out outlandish-looking grammar and wandering over, fixing upon us. His fellow students, with a curious intensity of observation, caught it, would be instantly withdrawn, yet ever and anon, searchingly to our table. I wondered what it meant, I wondered too. The me of small moment, namely my weekly visit to Morton School. And still more was I puzzled when, if the day was unfavourable, there was snow or rain or high wind, me not to go, he would invariably make light of their solicitude, encourage we to accomplish the task without regard to the elements. A weakling as you would make hurt, he would say, mountain blast or shower, or a few flakes of snow, well as any of us. As when I returned tired, and not a little with a beaten eye, never dared complain, so that to murmur would be to vex him. The reverse was a special annoyance. One afternoon, however, leave to stay at home, because I really had a cold. While Brontë Morton in my stead, I sat reading Schiller, he deciphering his crab oriental scrolls. As I exchanged a translation for an exercise, I happened to look his way with ever watchful blue eye. How long it had been searching me through and through, and over and over. I can't tell, so looking was it, and yet so cold in the room was something uncanny. Jane, it so was. Himself at present studying that, as he advanced, to forget the commencement, with whom he might again and again go over the elements, them thoroughly in his mind, me and his sisters, I could sit at a task the longest of the three. Him this favour, I should not perhaps spawn, as it wanted now barely 3 months to his departure. Street was not a man to be lightly refused. On him either for pain or pleasure was deep graved and permanent. Consented. When Diana and Mary returned her to her brother, she laughed. Street John should never have persuaded them to such a step. Quietly, I found him a very patient, very forbearing master. He expected me to do a great deal. His expectations, he in his own way fully testified his approbation. By degrees of mind, his praise and notice were more restraining than his indifference. Could no longer talk or laugh freely when he was by. Importunate instinct reminded me that vivacity, at least in me, was distasteful to him. I was so fully aware that only serious moods and occupations were acceptable. In his presence, if to sustain or follow any other became baneful. Under a freezing spell, when he said go, I went, came. To this I did it, but I did not love my servitude. I wish many a time he had continued to neglect. An evening when, at bedtime, his sisters and I stood round him good night, he kissed each of them, as was his custom meant. As was equally his custom, he gave me his hand. Diana will for hers in. Another way was as strong, exclaimed, Straight. John. You used to call Jane your third sister, treat her as such. She pushed me towards him, provoking, and felt uncomfortably confused. And while I was thus thinking and feeling, Street John bent. His head level with mine, his eyes questioned my eyes, piercing like kissed. Aye, no such things as marble kisses or ice kisses, ecclesiastical cousins salute. Belonged to one of these classes, kisses, and his was an experiment. This, when going to learn the result, it was not. Striking, not blush, perhaps I might have turned a little pale. As if this kiss were seal affixed to my fetters. The ceremony afterwards, the gravity and quiescence with which I underwent it seemed to invest it for him with a certain charm. As for me, daily wished more to please him, but to do so more and more that I must discern half my nature, stifle half my faculties, wrest my tastes from their original bent, pursuits for which I had no natural vocation, an elevation I could never reach, stand he uplifted to his correct end. Classic pattern, see blue tint and sullen lustre of his own, not his ascendancy. Alone, however. To be continued.